John Talks, episode 19, deep slash Kundalini breathing. Yeah, so Wim Hof deep breathing became a trend a few years ago. Kind of came into vogue along with the morning ice tub plunges. People trying to figure out, what they call biohacks or performance hacks for the body, or just health upgrades, basic just training for your body, trying to get more out of it. So I've been practicing. So I've tried Kundalini breathing like a long time ago, like 10 or 20 years ago. And I recently, about a year and a half, it's like year and a half ago, I starting my day with deep breathing. I specifically started doing it with Wim Hof deep breathing. And if you don't know who he is, he's a famous guy on YouTube who is a proponent of the benefits of deep breathing. And what I can say is after 12 to 18 months that I start every day with it. After I get out of the shower, before I get into my morning routine, it takes me it's like an 11-minute video where there's 3 sets of breathing exercises that I do. And the benefits they're real. And so that's why I'm doing this John talk on it, because I highly recommend it. It's the practice. So there's two different types: the deep breathing and the Kundalini breathing. Okay, so the deep breathing, which I'll tell you about first, which is what I've been doing to start the day, is usually, in my case, it's where I'm doing these like long deep breaths. The ones I do are it's a set of 30. So it's just in and out, like rapid and deep, no breaks, 30 breaths in a row. And then there's a minute and a half of holding your breath, and then go back into another set of 30 breaths in a row, then another minute and a half of holding your breath, and then one last set of 30 breaths, and then holding your breath. And when here's the benefits. They're pretty straightforward. Like, you get from that set, I get stress reduction, improved mental clarity. It oxygenates the blood almost immediately, and it gets the lungs going. It wakes me up into my day, and once I get the oxygen into my blood, I was surprised at how quickly it works in terms of just getting oxygen into my blood, and then my brain clears up, my thoughts clear up. Something in my body is alerted, and it just catalyzes a kind of like autonomic functions in the body to wake up and just get going. For me, it improves my emotional balance, because it makes me feel my whole body, and it opens up my chakras, and then my energy levels they're unparalleled, which it's amazing, because that's basically the oxygen is, because the oxygen just travels around in your blood and detoxifies your blood and gets you going. And so really it's the fastest natural detoxification process that you can engage in, is just oxygenating your blood through conscious breathing. And I have noticed a difference. Like, when you do the conscious breathing, it makes a big deal. It makes a big difference. And then, so that improves, so it improves my spiritual connection, because it's sort of like an intense meditation. Now, when I'm doing the breath holding, I do meditate, and I have specific meditations that I do. I'm mainly just doing boot up meditations to concentrate on my chakra openings, and I just try to get my body clear and my mind clear to begin the day usually. So that's the long deep breathing. Now, interestingly, and I was telling my dad this, we had one of my relatives on his side of the family, when he was in San Francisco, he used to go abalone diving. And to do abalone diving, to free dive down on the pier at the wharf, which is crazy cold, you got to go pretty down. You have to go down pretty deep. And So he was naturally engaging in these processes because you got to oxygenate your blood. It's typical. I don't know what his practice was because I didn't get a chance to meet him, but it's typical for free divers to do deep breathing exercises, rapid Kundalini breathing, which we'll get to next, in order to oxygenate their blood so that they can stay at the depths. And so my relative was already doing that. He was already doing these oxygenating the blood exercises. And then he was really doing a cold plunge on top of it, because when you're diving down into those cold waters, you're getting that benefit as well. So I already had it in the DNA, which is crazy. And then actually when I went to West Point, one of the classes you have to take there is survival swimming. And it's not easy. And especially now you would think that, like, on my side of the family, after just hearing the story that I had an abalone diver in my family, that I'd be like, oh, I'm a water guy. But I wasn't, because my dad was freaked out by the water. He's scared of the ocean and by all accounts a terrible swimmer. And so I inherited that side of things, and I was a terrible swimmer, and I was moderately afraid of the water. So when I had to take the water survival course, which is mandatory for graduation, and I was terrified at first, because they make you do all kinds of stuff. You have to, it's not just swimming. You have to do things while, like, you're in your, in your fatigues, your battle dress uniforms, your army, your camos with your boots. You got to, like, do all kinds of stuff. You have to be fully clothed in that stuff and go off a 10-meter board into the water, and then disrobe, like, while you're in the water, and turn your pants into a flotation device. And that's just one of the things. Like, one of the ones, you have to, like, go all the way down to the bottom of the pool and not take anything off. And you have to, like, basically, you have to learn to sort of skip through the water. It's this whole thing where you're on the bottom of the pool, and you have to learn to, you jump forward at a 45-degree angle, get a breath. You drop back down to the bottom of the pool, and then plunge forward again at a 45-degree angle, because that's supposed to teach you how to. That's a way, if you have to get across a lake or a pond. Let's say you have like a 15-foot deep pond or something, and you just, like, have to get across it because it's army time, and even with, like, all your gear and stuff, that's a technique where you can get across without having to swim it. You drop down at the bottom, and then you jump forward at a 45-degree angle, get a breath, drop back all the way down. But, the trick is you have to continue it to get across the other side. Anyway, a lot of deep breathing going on to oxygenate the blood. They taught us that there too. They were training us also how to. The goal is to be able to swim completely underwater an entire lap or more at an Olympic length pool. So you would sit there, and it looked like a bunch of cadets just hyperventilating, and then you get under the water and go. So so people know about oxygenating the blood through breath, and it's not just used for meditative purposes. Obviously, the Army, of course, reassigned the purpose for warfare. So that's So that's on the long, deep breathing side, and the benefits are really great. I highly recommend starting the day with it. Just a set of that. Now, that's deep breathing. So deep breathing is like long, deep, repetitive meditative breaths. There's a couple other breathing techniques that I've engaged in, and I have to say, like, out of all the stuff I've done, and I've done pretty much, like, a lot of psychedelic drugs and other drugs and meditations and exercises and all sorts of things, but the safest, most organic, most beneficial technique that I've engaged in out of them all and the quickest to improve internal health and to affect my consciousness in a good way has been breathing techniques, specifically conscious breathing techniques. So there's this other technique, and I tried this one guy who was he was like a cultist or something. He was trying to like recruit me and my brother into some sort of weird stuff. Back in, I think it was like 2008 or something. Anyway, he introduced me to this technique. It's called breath of fire. I think he called it something like dragon fire, like dragon breath or something, but it's generally known as the breath of fire or Agni Pran. And that one, as opposed to the long, deep, sets of breathing. This one is you basically go full lotus, and you put your hands in a mudra, and then you just do their diaphragm breathing exercises where you go deep repetitive breaths, but they're super hard and fast, and you're basically contracting your abdomen really hard to enact the diaphragm. And that one you're basically hyperventilating, and you're just like I'll do a little bit. You're just like and you do that for continuously for like 1 to 3 minutes. And you're supposed to start like maybe with a little less, but the idea is you do it for 1 to 3 minutes, and it's an accelerated version of the deeper, more meditative breaths. Now, the idea for the yogic practices is that stimulates really stimulates your Kundalini directly. Your Kundalini is the energy coil that's wrapped around your base of your spine, and it's your most powerful energy center. And so the dragon breath, or the breath of fire, is a technique that specifically activates that and uncoils it so that it rises up through your chakral centers. And then eventually, like the idea is that it opens up your crown chakra, and that you can stimulate your connection to divine. People use it for other stuff though too. And then, because the other thing with Kundalini energy first starts, you first start feeling it in your sex, and then because it starts in the lower areas. So some people just use it just to, for sexy time, basically. Honestly, I think that's where like a lot of the cults start off, is because they have good intentions, and then they find Kundalini breathing, and then they're like, oh man, we can just have great sex on this, and then next thing you know, they got a cult. But the breath of fire it's been used for millennia, so it's true. It's a thing that works. It's a technique that works, and it's but it's more intense than the longer, deeper breathing ones. And I don't recommend that for beginners, because it's intense, and until you're ready to really absorb what it is, I think it's better to start with the longer, deeper breaths. I mean, you can try it. I mean, it's just breathing, but there you go. So that's the breath of fire. And then the other one that I'll talk about that I've also tried, which shockingly, I mean, I shouldn't say shockingly, I sound like a dipshit, but shockingly, there's a breathing technique it's alternate nostril breathing, and I think they call it like Nadi Shodhana. Anyway, alternate nostril breathing is you basically just sit down normal meditation pose, and you take your thumb and your other finger. It can be like your thumb or middle finger or the index finger. You pinch your nose, and the way it works is, so let's say you have your right hand, and you have your thumb on your right nostril, and let's say you have your index finger on your left nostril. Then you use your thumb to close your right nostril, and you're going to breathe in through your left nostril for a 4 to 6 count. And then you're going to use your index finger, you're going to close that left nostril, and you're going to release through your right nostril. And then you're going to keep the right nostril open, and you're going to breathe in through it. And then close your right nostril with your thumb and breathe out through your left nostril. And you're going to keep doing that, where you go in the one nostril. You're going to go in the one nostril, out the other, and then back in the other one and out, and you get the idea. And so, for one, this is good just for trying to clear out your nostrils. Like, just straightforward. And then it's also good because it helps you clear out your hemispheres, and it makes you concentrate on the fact that you have 2 hemispheres of your brain. And I know it sounds wonky and a little bit stupid, but it works. You just do it for a few minutes, and then once you get good oxygenation to both hemispheres of your brain, And also because it's bringing awareness to it, you get a certain amount of awareness to it. It starts up like a brain sync, and then your mind calms. And it really does work. And now the hardest thing about these breathing techniques, or well, maybe I should put it a different way. The breathing techniques really help you when you're in the middle of, when you're clouded in stress. So you're going through your day and you're just in it and all the stress is on you. And then that's when you really need to use it. Now, conversely, that's when it's really the most difficult to do it. Because it sounds easy listening to this. Go, oh, it's not a big deal. Just like breathe and, things are better. But that's because it's chill right now. But yeah, like when you're in the middle of a day and it's all up on you, or you're at the airport and you're waiting for your flight and like everything, all the stress is coming down, that's when you need to do the classic, like, they said in the 50s, like, oh, just take a deep breath and count to 10. Don't blow your stack, right? Like, but it's actually great yogi advice. If you can, if you're in that airport situation, about to lose your shit, sit down and do like 30 breaths and it'll level you out real quick. Now, having said that, I've been in plenty of situations where I realize I'm like, oh man, John, there's a lot of stress. I really should like do some deep breathing. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm fucking pissed to like not do the deep breathing. But when I've had the discipline to do it, when I'm in those situations and I do it, it does. It fixes it real quick, clears me out, and it can clear you out too. So I think that's enough. So you get it. Deep in Kundalini breathing. I'm into it. It works. It's been working for thousands of years for people. There's literally no harmful side effects to just breathing a little more and consciously breathing and using it to heal your body, clean it out, and reset it and gain some balance. So there you go. Well, I hope you have a good one. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, have a good day.